If I get so much down in the phone, I lose control. My name keeps spinning round and round on that ride. But if we make the most of the day, we call love the troubles and pull them away. What if we made the most of the day to call love the troubles and throw them away?
Good morning, everybody.
Thomas Jefferson once said, all tyranny needs to gain a foothold is for people of good conscience to remain silent. Don't remain silent. You've just jumped into the Pickle Barrel with author, speaker, commentator, and show host, Bill Pickle.
Good morning, and welcome. You are in the Pickle Barrel. So glad to have you here this morning. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. I tell you what, we in our household, we had a great weekend. We had a great weekend. Yesterday, we got to go down and visit the grandkids and the kiddos down in Charleston. Always love going to Charleston. Don't need a reason to go, but that gives us a good one. We had a great time doing that, and all day Saturday worked on state guard stuff, worked on the show, even did some yard work before the rain came in. And yes, just like it has been for the last month, we had rain, hard rain again yesterday. And who knows what's going to bring out today, but who cares? You know, what happens, happens. You know, ain't nothing we can do about it. Enjoy it. Make the best of it. You can always take a good snooze during the rain. I can. Hope you got a chance to get some rest over the weekend and had some relaxation like I did, and my wife and our family. And we got a long week going, people. We got a lot to talk about. We got so much, it's unreal. But I want you to bring all the things you want to the table also. And because that's what In the Pickle Barrel is all about. We're here to talk about the issues that I care about, issues that you care about, and issues that your friends may care about. If you know someone out there that's got an issue or a story that you feel needs to be discussed, please have them contact me. You know, there's more to life than just politics in Washington, D.C. You know, we've got issues within the counties. We got issues within the school districts. We got issues in the state, no matter what state you live in. And we're going to be talking about some of those issues this morning across the board. So we better get started. If you'd like to take part in the conversation, I hope you do. There is a chat room available. All you got to do is go there and get in it. You know, that's all there is to it. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. All you got to do is go over there and get involved in the chat room. You can go to AmericanPatriotRadio.com. There's several different places. You can do it right here on Facebook. You can do it wherever you want to, but there is room for you to say what you want to say. And we want you to do that. And I tell you, we have got a full week plan. Now, I'm going to go through very, very, very shortly a little bit about what happened on this day in history, because you know how I feel about history. We tend to repeat our mistakes, don't we? We tend to repeat our mistakes over and over and over again. So let's see what might have happened this day in history that we're messing up again. We do have a guest coming on with us shortly. I see he is on the line, so we're going to make this very short on history so we can get to him. Okay. Let's see here. War in England and France. Okay. War in Lines. That's in France. Okay. Wars in Beijing and China. The boxers. That's okay. We know all that. War. 1942, Dwight D. Eisenhower, in the name of Anglo-American commander for American Operation Torch, which was the invasion of Africa. Oh, yeah, that was more war, wasn't it? 1945, on this date, Japan announces unconditional surrender in World War II. That ended that war. Let's see. 1947, Pakistan became an independent country. Oh, let's see. Oh, Britain, guess what? They have war too. The British in the Northern Irelands. Huh, how about that? Some things just don't change. 1973, United States ends the secret bombing of Cambodia. More war. War. Let's see. Oh, Shannon Faulkner becomes the first female candidate in the long history of South Carolina State Military College, the Citadel. Her presence is met with real intense resistance. I remember that very well, reportedly including death threats. And she did not stay in there. A week later, she was gone. However, there was a lady that entered the college shortly after that, and she did graduate, and she was on this show not too long ago. 2007, 4 coordinated suicide bombs in Yazidi, Mosul, war. Okay. 2010, another war. Forget it. You know what? We're going to talk about other things besides war, including war, here in a few minutes. But right now, I want to get to our guest. And before I get him on the line, I want to introduce you to a couple of things we're going to be talking about. You know, they have, if you haven't heard, Bed Bath and Beyond laid off over 880 store jobs here recently. And when I first heard about this, I started doing some research, and this store has been in business a long time, and they have been in trouble for a long time. Now, people may ask, well, why? Why were they in trouble so long? Well, maybe it's got to do with culture. You know, sometimes businesses have problem with the internal structure and culture, work internally, how they operate. A lot of times it's just because of stupidity. And in my humble opinion, I think what we have here is a combination of all of that. Now, our guest that is on the line waiting has been with them, or was with them, I should say, for, well, he'd been in business for 29 years. He's now 54 years old, so he's been in business most of his life, retail management. He started with Bed Bath & Beyond in 2000 and worked until 2015 as a senior manager. Well, I'll let you finish the rest of the story. Neil Harrison, good morning, sir. How are you?
Yeah, good morning. How are you, sir?
Glad to have you with us in the Pickle Barrel this morning.
Well, thank you. It's good to be in the Pickle Barrel.
I want to let everybody know how I met you the first time. My wife and I were in New York City, which is not unusual, by the way. And we were across the street, and you know the streets in New York are not real narrow like they are here in town. They're pretty good sized streets. And I saw this guy that I thought something was wrong with him. He was standing on top of this van. He was jumping up and down. He had this microphone and speakers, just talking at the top of his voice with the aid of the mic. And I thought, man, something's serious wrong with him. So my wife and I, we stopped right there in the middle of the sidewalk, and we listened for a minute. And I said, Susan, excuse me, I have to walk across the street. I hear me being called. And so I went over there, Neil, and there you were. And he was protesting in front of a subsidiary of Bed Bath & Beyond, a partner store. And we'll just go from there. Neil, I tell you what, first of all, how long did you work with? I know you worked with them for a number of years, but did you go in as a manager? Did you work yourself up? How did you get involved in the management team of that organization?
Still, more than happy to answer that question. First, though, I wanted to say I'm happy to be on the show. I have a lot of respect for you. I've been listening to your show since we met that day.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you. To answer your question, so I began, I was hired as a department manager back in 2000. I worked myself up to an assistant store manager of that company. And that's where I started, and that's where I ended.
Okay. Now, obviously, if you stayed with the store that long, you were happy about something for a while. What took place that changed your perspective of that organization?
I'll tell you, Bill. In the beginning, as most of us do, when we start a career or in any company, we see the good. As long as generally I'm a positive kind of guy. So when I go into a company, I look at the good and the positives, and I kind of just I get a glimpse of some of the negatives. And there's always negatives in every company. In the beginning, Bye Bye Baby was a privately owned company at the time that I started. So at that point, it was almost a mom and pop type of organization. Run very, very comfortably. It was a great place to work. And I must say the raises and increases, promotions were fantastic for employees and management alike. I was very happy there. To be honest, I was quite happy there till the day I left. However, there seemed to be a lot of corporate mischief, if I may.
Right.
Once that, believe it or not, Bye Bye Baby is where it started, and it was taken over by Bed Bath & Beyond back in 2007. And as soon as Bed Bath took over, a big conglomerate of that nature, they changed things. They started lowering the raises, and they started becoming more of a, they're just piping down on everything. And there was a lot of things politically that I was unhappy with that I found in a big business that's on, this business has been on the stock market for years.
Right.
And once I saw that and I recognized the anti-union format, we would go to meetings about how to keep unions out, but not only that, about how we can take care of the employee and you don't need a union. Well, I don't believe that. I didn't believe it when I worked there. And I thought it was a whole lot of nonsense. So basically, you hold up there, you hang on because there's a lot of positives, but you see the negatives, you smell the negatives, and there was a lot of them. In any big corporations there are, and so I started seeing and smelling a rat in a lot of areas.
Okay, let me clarify a couple of things, folks, before we proceed. You heard Neil mention he worked for Bye Bye Baby. Bye Bye Baby is only one store under the namesake brand Bed Bath & Beyond. It has Cost Plus World Market. It has the Christmas tree shops. It has Harmon, Face Values, Bye Bye Baby, and several other stores. So, Bed Bath & Beyond is bigger than just the Bed Bath & Beyond that most people in this area know of. So it's a big...
You've done your homework.
Yes, I have. I normally try to do that, Neil. Now then, also, Neil is here at his own risk. I talked to Neil a couple of days ago after I found out that the company has sent him a letter notifying them to cease and desist, talking about the company, and they sent him a letter. Matter of fact, Neil, if you don't mind, I'm going to read it just so everybody knows where we're at. It says, "Dear, all right, dear Mr. Harrison, we are litigation counsel to Bed Bath & Beyond, Inc. and all the subsidiaries, including but not limited to Bye Bye Baby, Inc., collectively the company." The company. Now, that just says it right there, don't it? And please find enclosed a draft complaint that our clients have authorized us to file against you based on your repeated publication of knowingly false and defamatory statements concerning them, compounded by your harassment campaign directed at the company's customers and employees, which harassment has interfered with the company's business relationships as well as threatened the physical safety and security of its customers and employees. As set forth in the complaint, your misconduct has caused and continues to cause my clients to suffer significant damages. Well, I got something to add there, but I won't right now. Okay, so in other words, Neil, what they've told you is they want you to, you and your agents, representatives, surrogates, designees, in any party, entity, or individual under your control, supervision, or direction, cease and desist any publication, statements, or anything about this store in this organization. Okay, I did talk to you about this. You said your attorney was satisfied and okay with you talking about it. So here we go. All right, folks, listen, I did my homework. Bed Bath & Beyond did cut 180 store jobs. And I went back and I started looking at some of their stock portfolios, their stock history, and they have taken a beating. In the last year, their average stock price went from, well, it started out at over $100, by the way, just to let you know that. And this last year was when I went back and started seeing what happened. And their high this year was $48.83 a share. And as of the 7th of August, it was $27.99 a share. So things have not improved at this point. Okay. Neil, what do you, if you had anything that you wanted to mention that has brought this to this point for that organization, what would be the 2 or 3 top things that you are out there talking about with the citizenry in front of the stores and things like this?
So, first of all, you read the letter and it's obvious, but what they're doing is they're suing the little guy. They're going after the little guy, which I am. And it's a scare tactic. What these big companies do is they try to bully the little guy. The 880 people that were fired without warning, by the way, with no warning whatsoever. Many were called on the phone at home on vacation and told that your services are no longer needed. That's cold-hearted. And for lack of a better word, it's not bedbath, it's a bloodbath. They took these people out after 18 years, some 19, 20 years. They took out people from 40 to 60 years old, and that was their main age group. Now, there were a few, to my knowledge, that were under that age. I'm just going to assume, and I don't want to put myself out there because I'm out there enough. I'm going to assume they probably cut a few 30-year-olds just to make it look right. But the point being is they did this cold-blooded and calculated. And they could have done a lot of things better and with a little heart here. We're a $12 billion a year company to make a revenue like that.
Did you try to talk to them yourself and find out the reasons that they took this position with this age group, or did they just refuse to talk to you?
You're talking about Bed Bath, Bill. I'll tell you the truth. If this was any other country, and thank God we are in this country, I'd probably be 7 feet under by now. Been protesting Bed Bath and Beyond for over 2 years. Been very vocal, extremely vocal, and I don't play games. I take them to the umpteenth. I mean, I push them and I push them and I push them. But it's not only that. I want to make sure that America knows what's going on here. So that being said, no. The answer to your question is no, unfortunately. I did not go there. But to answer your question, I'll go back on your question. I don't want to ignore you. So what I found interesting, first off, is the 880 that were cut. You could say they were fired. You could say they're calling it a layoff. You can call it whatever you want. It's a restructure.
They were let go. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Bill?
They were let go, no matter what you call it.
They were all let go. Doesn't matter what you call it. On the same exact day that they decided to clip 880, they decided to hit me with this probable lawsuit and scare me. Not only are they going after 880 innocent people that have no work at all, they're going after a little guy like me to try to shut me down. Now, is it a coincidence? Well, it's quite ironic, I'll tell you that much, that they did that all on one day.
Right.
Going back to your question, though, your question, if I believe it was, why do I think that they got to the point where they needed to restructure and cut out 8080?
Yes.
I'll tell you, one is that the return policy is not there's no policy there. They tell the managers, they tell the employees to stand by a certain direct policy, and they don't stand by their employees and managers when they try to make the attempt to save the company money. They don't have a policy. You can, and trust me, you could take a toaster down at Bed Bath Beyond that's over 10 years old, used and abused. You could take a stroller down to Bye Bye Baby that's been used and abused. And when you bring that stroller and you bring that toaster in, and the employee behind the counter, who's, by the way, underpaid generally and unappreciated very often, unfortunately, being a manager, I am aware of that. But anyway, and you tell them that you want to return this item, they will, chances are, let you know in the beginning that it's used and abused. Now the customer is an option. The customer is very privy to this information. If you decide to walk away with your toaster, you're walking away with your toaster, have a good day. But if you decide to stomp your feet, throw a fit, and here's the key right here, ask for the corporate number. And you're going to call corporate, and I want your name. Well, guess what? Not only will you get a store credit for that 10-year toaster, and I'm guessing, I'm not putting this as an exact, you'll own this company by Wednesday. So basically, the company's losing millions upon millions of dollars. And not only that, but it's backed up by upper management. My district manager, Phil Caparelli, who's a fine gentleman. I liked him a lot. We got along well. His key words to me and other managers were, if you're not getting scammed by the customer at least twice a day, you're not doing your job as a manager. That says it all.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be saying that because obviously I'm under a lot of public. I'm in the public now.
Right.
When they take me into court, they could throw that at me and let them do it. But the truth stands, and I had a lot of people to back me up on that.
Yeah.
That's number one. And then there's also incompetence, major incompetence from upper management. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to properly organize. They don't know how to properly hire and fire. They hold on to people sometimes longer than they need to, and then sometimes they fire people at a whim, and they sit behind the desk sometimes, and they're not down to earth enough to understand the actual business. So, I mean, like you said, when I left in 2015, I had sold my stock options in 2014 for over $80. You're looking at 27 a share that's trading at. That's pretty rough. It's pretty rough 3 year stretch.
Yeah. You saved a lot of money, didn't you?
Saved a lot of money, Joe. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God. Yes, I did.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, Neil, I went to our local Bed Bath & Beyond, which is about, oh my gosh, it may be a half mile from my house. And when I walked in the store yesterday, there were a few customers there, not an overwhelming amount. Of course, it was Sunday, and it was right about 30 minutes before the store closed. So, you know, I wasn't expecting a big crowd anyway. But I asked the young lady that was at the cashier if I could speak to the manager. And she said, yes, sir. And without any hesitation, she paged him. And he comes walking out. And it wasn't the same manager that I have known over the last couple of years, which, by the way, I will tell you, I can't say for sure, but I think now that in the last 5-6 years, this is either third or fourth manager. You know, there tells you that something is not right when you have that kind of turnover with your management. Also, this guy was a younger guy, and which fits what you've been saying about them getting rid of the more mature, older, experienced people, which you do lose a lot when you do that. And I asked him, I introduced myself, I gave him one of my cards, and all of a sudden, he was standing taller than he was when we first were talking. I could already see he was taking his position. And I asked him, was he aware of the layoffs? Yes, he was. He said that. I said, did you have any layoffs here? He said, no, sir, we did not. And then I asked him, are you on the list of stores to be closed in the future? I cannot talk about that. You will need to contact corporate. And I said, have y'all had to cut down on your staff? I cannot address that. Just bam, 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 which is not unusual because, you know, most people want you to talk to corporate instead of them about these type of things. But the stance that he took, you know, you can look at body language and tell whether someone's just being polite or they're reading a script. And every time he said it, he had this look on his face, and then he'd give me that, you know, oh, well, you know, look, you know, and I can't talk about that. You need to come back. You know, he just repeated on 3 or 4 more questions. And so I said, well, be honest with you, you answered the questions I thought you would answer, and the way you answered them was the way I thought you would answer them. Have a nice day. Now, I will tell you, my wife and I have shopped at that store many times, and we like the products. You know, we've always been treated nicely, but there was a different atmosphere. I have to tell you that, folks. There was a different atmosphere yesterday. Even before the manager came out, when I was standing there, I could see, normally there'd be 3 or 4 employees, and they'd be hustling, bustling, stocking, and all this, and they'd be talking to customers. And I saw one other customer, and the cashier, when we started talking, she just kind of looked down and walked away to the other side of the cashier little booth there. So it was obvious that they did not really want to talk about this or anything at that time. So Okay, Keith. Now,
Yeah.
look, yes.
If I may, let me ask you this question, if you would.
Okay.
When did you hear about the 880 layoff?
I heard about it about Tuesday or Wednesday of last week, which was long after it was done.
Okay, and where did you hear about it, if I may ask?
I saw it on a news flash I got automatic on my cell phone. It came up on my cell phone. About I do not remember which side it was. It was either, you know what? I think it was New York Times.
Okay, I'll tell you. You would be shocked, and I'm shocked as well, how many people do not know about it like it was never done before.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, it's more upsetting to me that the majority of the public doesn't know about it. It's almost something that's not even important, but not even heard about. And look, you have Trump starting a war here with North Korea, possibly. Bed Bath & Beyond laying off 880 is a drop in the bucket. But I must tell you, I was out all week doing my thing, protesting as I usually do, and letter or no letter, I don't stop just because they send me a letter or litigation. I don't cower to their fear tactics. But I was in front on Friday with my team members, and I was protesting in front of Bed Bath & Beyond headquarters. That's in Union, New Jersey. These people have been working there for years, and all it is Bed Bath & Beyond employees. All different types.
Right.
People that work behind the desk. Do you know how many people came over to me and didn't know what I was protesting? And once I had to give them the information that 880 were let go, they were like, I didn't hear that. So very interesting. They're not only trying to keep it from the public and they keep it hush hush, they're trying to keep it from their own people. They are frightened, and I get it, and I would be too if I was CEO. And that it gets around because, from my knowledge, there's a probability of a second round coming. That's not a definite.
Yeah.
So they don't want a revolution here, and they definitely don't want me out there starting a revolution.
Right.
And I am doing that, and I will continue to do that.
Okay.
So it's very interesting how they keep a hush hush on that.
Okay. To give you some support, I did look up and try to find other people that had issues with the company. And there was one, a forklift operator who is currently an employee. So I'm not going to say what town or state he was from, but it wasn't from here. And it said low pay, incompetent management, unexperienced HR, bad culture. The company is extremely cheap. They do not give raises, and they are much lower than nearby companies in the same market. They didn't want to pay out bonuses they promised to employees for Christmas until February, and they fired most employees before then to keep from paying them. There's a high turnover at the company, with most employees leaving for better jobs with higher pay. Most of the managers came from Amazon, and they hired their friends and former coworkers instead of promoting qualified staff on those roles. HR is a very hands-off and aloof. HR doesn't really care about employees and seems like they don't have a clue what real HR is. They even sent HR from corporate to ask questions about the HR team here in that town. And they said, my best advice, do not work for Bed Bath & Beyond. And so, I hate coming down on companies like that, but folks, this is something that is not just Bed Bath & Beyond. You're seeing this a lot in some of the corporate stores. Now, let me ask you, Neil, you were in the retail business. Do you think that a lot of the damage that's coming to Bed Bath & Beyond is the same as it's affecting a lot of companies, that so many people now are shopping via internet?
Yeah, Bill, everybody under 60 and even beyond, is ordering everything on the internet. There's no reason to go into Bed Bath & Beyond. There's really not a whole lot of reason. I mean, you can buy towels and toasters and all that type of thing online. It's not something you always have to touch and feel. Bye Bye Baby is more of a store where you have to touch and feel. I believe you want to touch your stroller and drive it. I personally see that the trend is order online, return at the store. That's the basic trend here. So if you see customers at all, you'll probably see them on the customer service line returning the item that they probably ordered online, which is very interesting. And that's what the brick and mortar stores pretty much are there for in a lot of instances.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have. I've seen that everywhere. And just to mention on what you said about this gentleman who talked about that he's got a lot of good points there. I mean, obviously he's very disgruntled with the company. I'm not actually, even though, you know, that likes to play me as a disgruntled employee or etc. That's not the case. I love a lot of things about the company, and I love a lot of the people that still work there. I'm friends with hundreds of them.
Okay.
HR, you mentioned HR. HR is just there to protect the company, and I know a lot of HR departments in a lot of companies are that, but they are not there for the employee. They will protect us, and when I say us, I was in management. They will protect us to the nines. They will go beyond, for lack of a better word, they will go beyond it to help us out and protect the company. They couldn't care less, in my opinion, about the employee. The employee is just somebody there that they don't want to be sued by, they don't want to be put in a vulnerable position by, and they are the ones that are right. Basically, they're in between management and the employees. They're not helping the employees. This is not a union that you can go to HR, complain, and get your way, or maybe there'll be some discussion. I mean, there is.
Yeah.
It's a total joke. So,
yeah.
And there's a lot of incompetence in HR.
Okay.
Suzanne Grants, for one. So, yeah, you know, that's my take on that.
Okay. I've got a person in the chat room says, been to ours a bunch of times, but can't recall ever buying anything, maybe a small item here or there, but the most part wouldn't affect me if they closed down at all. So, you know, right there is a bad comment in its own self. You know, I wonder how many people go, you know, come to think of it, I've seen a lot of people go in and walk out. My wife and I, we normally go when we have something in particular we want, and very rarely do we go in and look around for anything other than just that. So, well, let me ask you this. I was reading another article that said that there's big changes coming to Bed Bath & Beyond in 2017, and they listed a few of those, Keith. They said they're going to be store openings and store closings. They're going to be, unlike major retailers, which I was going to mention anyway, you know, here in our city, we've seen Sears go, by the way. We've seen J.C. Penney struggling like crazy. Let's see. We've seen Kmart is in the process of closing, and a number of other stores that you would think would be around forever are closing their doors and are changing their program on how they're operating totally. So, you know, Macy's is another one. Now that's a New York City store there, Keith, and you know they've been struggling lately. So you know this is something that's not new, but they say that they're going to get down to have more personalization. You mentioned that they were impersonal. Maybe they've realized that finally. Maybe you brought it to their attention, Guy. Maybe you should get a bonus for that, huh?
I think it should. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a great idea.
Yeah. There you go. They say they're going to be a $20 free shipping minimum. In other words, you have to buy at least $29 or more to get free shipping. There's going to be a Bed Beyond Plus loyalty program. They're going to focus on life events. They said since people seem to be like shopping from the comfort of their homes, and retailers adding experimental aspects to their stores to get off the couch. So they're going to try to find something to lure them in. And if not, they're going to try to settle their needs via the internet. They're going to start carrying more furniture, and they're going to have new and improved website functions for the people. So, maybe they're going to try to change their ways. What do you think?
They're going to change their ways. They have to change their ways. Like a lot of retailers do have to change their ways. But I'll tell you, Bill, until they take care of the front lines, and what I mean by the front lines, I'm talking about their employees.
You mean the people that work for them?
The people that work for them, they have to empower them to be able to protect the company. If you don't let them protect the company, if you allow them to take back everything and anything, eventually it's going to kill you. And you really have to take care of your front lines. I mean, you have to make sure that they're happy. I mean, it's said before, if the employee's not happy, the customer's not happy.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a lot of people that are disgruntled, when you're working there for 10, 15 years and your friend of 15, 20 years is let go and out of a job at 55, 60 years old, that says a lot. It doesn't bring up the morale of the company. It doesn't help the employees perform to their best ability. And, basically, for lack of a better word, they're PO'd. And you got to take care of your employees before anything.
All right, let me ask you this. What do you foresee going on with Bed Bath & Beyond, the corporate structure and everything over the next 6 months to a year?
6 months to a year, they're going to be doing better because of their restructuring, because of their layoffs. And unless they, if they do a second round, they'll probably be doing a little bit better.
Okay.
They've saved $16 million, to my knowledge, on these cutoffs. They will probably save another 10 to 16. So, I mean, Bed Bath has money. They're not a poor company. They don't take out loans like other companies. A lot of their money, or most of their money, is their own money. So they have a lot to back them up. They're not going anywhere.
Okay.
They'll be around for the next 5 years. But in 5 years, if I had to guess, quote me on this, because I think they will be out of business in 5 years, the way they are in business now. Maybe they'll be completely online, but I don't think there's going to be brick and mortar stores. They have 1,500 brick and mortar stores, and once they're going to start closing eventually if they can't keep up with Amazon, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Has anyone tried to seek legal advice on how, including yourself, if you don't mind me asking, about the way you were treated, or has anybody tried to sue them for the way you were treated, or anything like that you're aware of?
Well, I got to be honest with you. I wasn't mistreated. I just felt there was a lot of monkey business going on.
Okay.
I was asked to fire people for the wrong reasons, and look for things on them to fire them for the wrong reasons.
Okay.
And I was actually put in a position by the DM to kind of be a spy, in essence, and give other managers up that they wanted out. And I could take the lead. My feeling was, hey, if you want them out, you find some dirt on them.
Yeah.
I'm not a snitch. I come from the streets, even though I'm well-read and well-spoken, I think, to a point, and I don't play those games.
Okay.
There's a lot of dirty stuff. I as far as lawsuit, I'll tell you, no. I'm gonna say no. I mean, there's been quite a few lawsuits against them, like any other companies. I don't believe, and I can't really put myself out there and say they could, but I believe they're talking about a civil lawsuit, a collective class action suit against Bed Bath, these 880, because they were all middle-aged gentlemen and women. Now, I don't know if they're going to get, if any lawyer will take it. I don't think they're going to go anywhere, because I believe Bed Bath is smart enough in some cases, not in most
Okay.
cases.
If they were to, if they were to have a class action based on age discrimination, etc., do you foresee, and you may not want to answer this on air, do you foresee you being part of that?
No, I don't. I really don't. I personally can't see that happening.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. The reason I protest is because
that was my next question, by the way.
No, by all means, yes. Thank you, Bill. I'm reading your mind today. It's an early Monday morning kind of day. We got to think alike. But yeah, I'm happier voicing the opinion and getting to the masses and letting them know what's going on than taking any kind of settlement or taking any monies from them. The problem with doing a lawsuit or kind of making a deal with them is you have to shut up. There's no way they're going to throw you six figures.
Yeah.
And you're going to still be able to talk and speak.
Yeah.
This is America. This is freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
And without that, we have nothing, in my eyes. So,
okay.
I don't know if they do this class action, I wish them all luck. I must be honest with you, though. I am disappointed, and not in the 80 that were fired, but I am disappointed that they didn't go to the streets all at once for at least a day and let the news know about it,
right.
the world know about it. But there's fear again.
Yeah.
Again, they put fear in their minds, in their hearts.
Mm-hmm.
There's the fear of losing your family's reputation,
right.
etc. So,
all right. So let me ask you this, Neil. If you have not sued or intend to sue or join a suit, maybe not join, as you said, why are you doing what you're doing? I mean, it takes a lot of time. Are you employed somewhere else now?
Yeah, from day one, when I was gone from Bed Bath, the day after I got a management position. So I am employed. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I am a manager.
Are they aware of your activities with Bed Bath & Beyond?
I'm so sorry.
Are they aware of your involvement in your activities against this company?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. And they feel okay about that.
Okay is an interesting word. I don't know if they're okay, but I think they respect it.
And
they support how I feel. I don't really mix my personal business, and I consider being an activist and fighting against Bed Bath and other companies, by the way, and other things that are unjust and unethical. Yeah. It's more of my sideline, but I spend over 60 hours a week on that.
Yeah. Do you kind of feel like Don Quixote sometimes at the windmill?
A little bit of Don Quixote. I feel a little bit more like Neil Harrison, just one man. A lot of people say, I'm very excited. I'm very, I have a lot of respect for you for doing it. And I'll tell you the truth, I don't get it. And the only reason I don't get it is I feel this is our American right. And I think we should all be out doing one thing. It doesn't have to be fighting Bed Bath. It could be fighting the unjust, et cetera, et cetera. If we all got involved and fought at least one thing, we can eliminate some of this unjust. And I don't think I'm any kind of a Don Quixote. I think I'm more of a middle class, middle-aged, middle American guy out there making it happen and fighting for the working man. All right.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate your time. You gave me a lot more time than I was asking for, and I appreciate that. And we covered a lot of area. So where do you go from here?
Where I go from here is fighting the good fighters, if you would. A lot of people say, Neil, are you going to fight the good fight, or are you going to cave to the threats? And I spoke to Bed Bath & Beyond's lawyer this week. They gave me 7 days or so to seize, and what do you think I did? On the night of, at 5 p.m. Friday, I was supposed to stop all of my protesting.
Well, let me think about this for just a second, Neil. Let's see. I'm trying to read your mind right now and look back in the past. Oh, I see you out protesting that day.
Yes, sir. That night, that day, exactly. So, extortion game.
Okay.
So, you know, as long as that's where I stand now. I don't intend on changing anything I've been doing except for keep going and pushing forward. And that's it. I mean,
all right.
I would like to reach out just for a second to all the 880 and anybody else who was let go. And please contact me if you don't feel threatened.
Okay.
You're not scared. I would not put your name out there. I never have. I never will. And in the court of law, you couldn't get me to give you up.
There you go.
You'd have to put the cuffs on me. So if
all
anybody
right.
wants to contact me, please just give me a holler. I'm on unethicalfiring.com. You can just Google that, or unethicalpracticethemovie.com. And I'll tell you the truth, if I have no problem. You give me a call on the phone, and I will answer and call you back within 20 minutes. If you don't mind, I'll give you my phone number out, and I have no issue doing that.
Please feel free to do so if you feel comfortable doing it.
By all means. I want to relate to the common man, because that's what we are, common men and women.
Okay.
917-208-4642. Text me, call me, reach me. Just talk with me. I mean, you don't have to give me your name if you don't want. If you have any questions,
all right,
I'll tell you how these guys work and operate.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, we got some people in the chat room and everything. I'll give anyone a chance real quick. If you have a question or comment you'd like to make with Neil, please do so at this time. Sounds all quiet on the western front, Neil. Listen, dude, I appreciate you so much for coming on and discussing this with us. It's a very interesting story, very interesting situation. And folks, I tell you what, doing the looking up of things about this organization, they are not the only ones out there playing these type of games. Now then, some of you will say, well, this is business, Bill. This is how they protect and take care of their business. Well, maybe I, for one, would not want to work for a company that would not take care of its employees. After all, aren't we the ones that make their company? Think about that. Yes, sir.
Couldn't have said it with more beauty than that, Bill. And if I may, I just want to leave your listeners with one thing, or two things actually.
Please do it.
Silence is not golden, folks. And the more you talk about things and make people aware, the more you have a chance to break out of the mold. And nobody, and I mean nobody, made a greater mistake than he who does nothing because he could do only a little. If you could just do a little, it means a lot.
All right. Thank you very much, Neil. And listen, good luck to you. And we're going to be in New York in a couple of weeks. Well, let's see, about a month. And maybe I'll stumble up on you again.
Come on and say hello. Love to see you, Bill. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Bed Bath & Beyond and the sister companies and parent company struggling right now, just like so many others. And I know that companies have to take drastic steps. I mean, let's face it. You know, they are in business to make money. They are in business to sell products. And when you have department stores and branch stores everywhere, you got to have employees. And you know what? They expect a lot from their employees, and I think employees have the right to expect a lot from their employer at the same time. After all, is it not a scratch my back, I'll scratch yours type situation? That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. All right. Well, I tell you what, we are close to the top of the hour. That went a little longer than I thought, but I'm glad it did. I want to go ahead and make a couple of quick announcements then, since we're so close. For those of you in Florence County, here where I live in South Kakalaki, a.k.a. South Carolina, Attorney General Alan Wilson will be speaking tonight at the Florence County GOP meeting at 6:30 to 8. And it's going to be held at the Floyd Conference Center. Yours truly will be there. I wouldn't miss it for a minute. Alan Wilson's a good friend, and I'd like to go support him and talk with him and see if we can't get him on the show to talk about some things. He's always been very cordial about doing that. And so I just want to let y'all know about that. And also, I want to share my horoscope. It says, this is today's. It says, express your feelings about your work. Kind of shy about doing that, but I'll see if I can't come out of this shell. Personal relationships at home and at work. I'm pretty shy about that too, but I'll try to come out. Sharing with someone who cares will lead to positive changes that will improve your life. Well, I'm all for that. So there you go. Right there tells you that it's okay to discuss your issues and problems with somebody else because it may make things a little bit better for your own life. So I just figured all that kind of fit in today. So I wanted to share that with you. All right. I tell you what, we're so close to the top of the hour. Dave, if you don't mind, let's go ahead and take the break right here before I start another topic. That way we don't have to cut off right at the beginning of it. Folks, we'll be right back here in the Pickle Barrel, and we'll continue talking about issues of the day that concern you and me. We'll be right back. All right, thank you, Dave. How you doing today?
Doing good. Just trying to busy. Phone
Good.
calls and running the board and doing all kinds of things.
Weather nice down in Florida today?
So far.
Good. Well, we're expecting rain. Can you believe it? Oh, gosh. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for being here with us this morning in the Pickle Barrel. We got another hour of things to talk about, and we're going to be getting deep and heavy on some things here in a minute. But before we progress any further, I want to invite all of you to take part in our conversations. You can take part on Facebook Live, on Facebook there in the little chat room. You can do it right here at AmericanPatriotRadio.com. All you got to do is hit the link, go in there, and get in the chat room. Join the group. That way you know what's going on with American Patriot Radio, who's coming up next, who's coming up tonight, who's coming up tomorrow, what are we going to be talking about, all kinds of things. So jump in there and take part. We appreciate it greatly. One more personal privilege. Very, very, very good friend of mine, and someone that I need to shoot because she introduced me to the Girl Scouts of Southeast Carolina, where I'm now on the board. And but no, I'm just joking. I'm loving it. But she's the one that grabbed me and got me in here. But Belinda Copeland, one of the best ladies you will ever meet. County treasurer in Darlington County, a neighboring county. Retired recently after a long time on the job. She had served, 8 terms as the elected county treasurer, 8 terms. She was honored this past week with the President's Cup, which is one of the South Carolina Association of Counties' highest honors. That took place on August the 1st, I believe it was. And is also the 50th anniversary of that organization, by the way. The award was presented to her, and for her devoted advocate of local government and the South Carolina Association of Counties. And she was and is one of the most pleasant people I know. She will talk with anybody. If you have an issue, she will sit down and work it out with you. And I have never heard anyone say anything negative about Belinda. It does my heart good every time I see her. Matter of fact, if y'all remember, I did this little cookout for the Girl Scouts, less than a month ago. And she showed up at that, and I had her sit down right beside me so we could talk and chat and have fun. And but she's been involved in county and local politics since 1970s, the early 70s. I mean, early 72, 71, 72 range, if I remember correctly. And One fine lady. But I just wanted to hand that out to her and say congratulations, Belinda. Could not have been given, that award could not have been given to anybody better. Thank you for the service you did for Darlington County, the Girl Scouts, and thank you for being my friend. And I took a point of special privilege there, folks, to do that because I do like good people that do good things. Okay. You know, there are 5 or 6 big things taking place over the next couple of weeks, especially this week, things that are going to make a difference, we hope, things that are going to be of interest. And I just want to throw you an idea of some things you might want to watch for and things I'm going to be watching. First of all, Donald Trump will be returning to New York City today. He's going to be going back to Trump Tower. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the first time he's been back to Trump Tower since being president. And so he's going to be there. And it's going to be interesting to see the security around there at this point. You know, last time we were in New York, we went by there. And there was maybe, let's see, there was 1, 2, 3. There were 4 security guards there at the time. And they were in full battle attire, too, with their automatic weapons showing. And he wasn't even there. So I wonder what it's going to be looking like this week. Now, no, New York City is going to be just happy to death that he is there, and the traffic's going to be blocked in front of his building. The sidewalks are going to be busy and blocked. I know they're going to love every bit of it with the extra policemen there and security. I'm being facetious as heck. I know that. But anyway, that's the price you pay for having one of your own as president, right? Okay, one of the other issues is the violence that took place in Charlottesville. We're going to talk about that ourselves here in a few minutes. The China trade probe is getting hot and heavy. That's something that you're going to hear a lot about. Scaramucci returns to the news cycle. He made a return to Washington Sundays. He made all the show circuits. I saw him on a couple of things that I had recorded. And he was out there criticizing his boss like crazy and about the responses to the clashes in Charlottesville. So there. North Korea is still going to be in the limelight all week. You might as well get ready for it. It's not going to go away. All right. Especially as long as Trump talks about it. And so those are some of the things that's going to be taking place this week that we're going to be paying attention to. And so what I'd like to do right now, since I mentioned some other things, let's see. One of the deals, I'm going to Korea, very short. You know, right now, the big news is that they haven't masterminded the way to get that nuclear weapon they say they're going to shoot delivered. All the security sources say there's no way they can do it. No way. Well, you know, I bet you we won't know that until they try. If they do indeed try. They could be all lip service also. And so, you know, I'm not going to waste a lot of time today on that. Just let you know that they do have the missiles. They can hit their neighbors. I mean, they can hit China if they wanted to. Oops, big mistake. They can hit South Korea if they want to. Obviously, they can throw a stone across the wall there. You know, they got a wall too, you know, more or less. A border anyway. It's guarded like crazy. They could hit, you know, all their little neighbors around that area. But as far as hitting Guam or New York City or San Francisco or Alaska or something like that, chances are they do not. We hope. Anyway. So I'm done with Korea for the day. That's all I wanted to say about Korea. Okay. Folks, Charlottesville. You know, I am not one to beat around the bush. I think the event that took in place in Charlottesville this week is as awful as it can be. When I saw or heard this that had happened, I'll be honest with you, I got so mad, and then I felt like crying. Is this what America has come to? Is this what America has come to?
Good morning.
Brian, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good. It was disturbing. I feel like this is what we've come to, and unfortunately, this is exactly what the establishment wants. They want to provoke a civil war.
Well, I tell you what, Brian, I think it's ridiculous, and the reasons given for it are ridiculous. And now they're saying that all of this is South Carolina's fault, our state.
Yeah.
And you know why they're saying it's our fault? It's because our governor, now ambassador of the UN, Nikki Haley, ordered the flag, the battle flag, you know, the cross with the stars, down from the monument that was there to honor the South Carolinians that had fought and died in the Civil War for this state. Now then, I want to let you talk here in just a second, Brian. You know, I was all in favor, and I do believe it was the wrong place for the flag to be above the state capitol building. That is not our flag, okay? That's a flag of history that should be at a historical monument celebrating and recognizing those, whether you agree with the war or not, they gave their lives for the state, not for the United States, but for the state of South Carolina. And they were being honored at the monument with that flag flying that they fought under during that war. Now then, you know, I saw another monument the other day. It's been a few weeks ago. I take that back, a few weeks ago. This was in Georgia. And it said on the plaque, approximately 260,000 Southerners were killed and wounded while defending the constitutional freedoms which were handed down by our founding fathers. All races and religions joined together to defend the Confederacy, their families, their property, and the state's rights against Northern aggression led by Abraham Lincoln. That was put up in 2002 and by the Berrien Light Infantry Camp, which was there in 1794 by the order of Robert E. Lee. Brian, you're a young man. You're a lot younger than I am. What do you think of the actions that took place in Charlottesville?
Well, I mean, I think it's a disgrace. But I think it's what the establishment's been itching for, because you have a president now that threatens the status quo. So what better way to destroy his presidency than to make him out to be some kind of a racist, and to also to take the heat off the establishment, pit the different ethnic groups against each other, because the more time the different ethnic groups are fighting each other, and the less time they're worrying about what George Soros is doing, what trillionaires like Bill Gates are doing, and Jeff Bezos, and the Koch brothers, and the real manipulators behind the scenes. And that's exactly, if I was George Soros, because he's starting to feel the heat in places like Hungary, what is happening now is exactly what I would want, because the one thing that I don't have as George Soros is that there are more of them than there are of me. But if I can split people 50 different ways, then instead of people looking at what I'm doing with all the money and wealth that I have and all the manipulations that I'm doing, I'm getting people bogged down and worrying about racial disputes. And the media has played a great role in fanning the flames, because they've condoned attack after attack after attack from the left, all the way back to when Trump had to cancel that rally in Chicago. The media did not come out and disavow it. But every time, David Duke opens up his mouth and he probably has 50 supporters, the expectation is that, people from the Republican Party have to disavow him, but I don't see people from the left disavowing all the violence that's come from the left, or the shooting with that baseball game, or all the stuff that the Antifa scum have been doing. And they are, they're basically the Ku Klux Klan of the left, or all the things that are happening on these college campuses. So, this was bound to happen as a reaction to it. And the thing that happened there is, if you're going to let Antifa march, then you had to let the other side march too. How can you let one side of extremists march and not the other? So this is exactly what they wanted. But I contend that 10-1, the violence and attacks have been coming from the left wing.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the difference is the left wing does not disavow them at all.
Yeah.
I think the governor, whoever it was the governor or mayor, or maybe your mayor or whatever it was in Charlottesburg, he was condemning the attacks from the white supremacists, whoever they were, but he wasn't condemning the actions of Antifa, even though that their MO is violence. So I just never see anything like it in my life, because typically the way things work is that, you're supposed to condemn violence wherever it comes from, but we don't see that happening now. The expectation is that the right wing has to disavow violence when it comes from their side, but it's much less frequent. Yeah. But that the left wing doesn't disavow it when it comes from their side. Yeah.
Well, Brian, I hear this story coming from so many different people. And, and all weekend I heard these people talking about that, well, if you hadn't been there, if you guys had not been there protesting, they would not have been there protesting. Well, guess what, folks? I want to make some people mad here, because it made me mad. And, Brian, I hate to say it, I just got riled again. But I want to tell you something. I don't care if you're red, yellow, black, or white. I don't care if you're a liberal. I don't care if you're a righty. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you are whoever or whatever you are. We all have the right to gather together and protest. You individuals, you are the one that causes the rioting. It takes someone to raise something up and throw it. It takes someone to start touching somebody and calling them names, and it takes someone to plow a car through the crowd. That's when the violence, when the whole thing goes to hell in a basket, as far as I'm concerned. And I don't care. You know what? I'm white. Look here. I'm white. Not only that, I'm middle-aged. I'm a baby boomer. I'm a white old fart. And guess what, folks? I've got a lot of black friends. You know what? A lot of black friends. I've had a lot of black friends right here in my house. I've got Hispanic friends. I've got Hispanics in the family. And guess what? I love them dearly, every single one of them. And guess what? I got some Chinese friends. Oh, there's a guy that just built a house 1, 2, 3, 4 houses down from me. He's Cuban. Guess what? I've been in his house eating some wonderful food and pastry his wife made just for me, by the way. And, I got skinny friends. I got fat friends. I got Jewish friends. We talk politics, a lot of us. And guess what? We have yet to run over each other, slit their throat, stab them, hit them, or anything. Now, I heard yesterday, and the little bit that I spent on Facebook, I just got tired of looking at the BS, the bad stuff. And I'll tell you, folks, every single one of those people that were on there condemning the other side need to look in a goddamn mirror. I can't say one side has done more than the other, because it looks to me like both sides has been pretty damn terrible over the last few years.
No, I disagree with that.
You do?
It is important to, yeah, I think it is important to point it out. The big difference is not a, yeah, I mean, obviously you condemn violence wherever it comes from, but the majority of the violence is coming from the left, and the left wing and the left wing establishment, the Democratic Party, refuses to condemn it. Like when Trump had to cancel that rally in Chicago, did Hillary Clinton come out and condemn what happened, or Obama, or the people in the establishment media?
Well, Brian, first of all, I'm not Hillary Clinton and I'm not Donald Trump.
No,
you know, I'm sitting here and I'm telling you, I'm condemning both of them when they get to that point. When they get to the violence part of it, I don't care who they are wrong.
Yeah, that goes without saying. That's just an obvious statement. That's
Well, it may not be too obvious. Everybody's out there pointing fingers.
Well, but and the point is that none of this is going to change unless the left wing is forced to condemn violence on their side, and they will not condemn it. They will not disavow violence that comes from the left. And what they want to do is they want to provoke a reaction from extreme right-wing elements to discredit the right wing and Trump in general, and to paint Trump with a broad brush, or anybody that supports him, or anybody that doesn't and that has a belief system that doesn't conform to what they want the rest of the country to conform to. And that's the larger issue. And no, it is important to point out the left wing refuses to condemn violence that comes from their side. They never condemn violence from Antifa, from all the stuff that's happened out in Berkeley, from the planned acid attacks when they had Trump's inauguration, the shooting that happened at that baseball field, and on it goes. I mean, look, it's important to point this out, and it is important to say, yeah, of course, violence wherever it comes from is bad, but it's important to point out that where the majority of the violence is coming from, and that this is exactly the reaction that the left wing wants. And, you know, I'm sorry, it's not the same. Yeah, all violence is the same, should be condemned. But where's the majority of the violence coming from? It's not coming from the right.
Well, you know, I'll be honest with you. I have not, I don't have a piece of paper or pencil here that I keep track of which side it's from. To be honest with you, Brian, I really don't. I really don't. I'm sorry?
Okay, the shooting at the baseball field and the softball game. Where were all the Democratic politicians coming out, or the establishment media saying that it's horrendous and we condemn this kind of violence from the left wing?
Well, first of all, you know, all the violence hasn't taken place just in the last year or 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. This has been going on for a very long time.
Yeah,
and
it's a big difference now.
Well, yeah, it's a big difference now. Yeah, you got media out there hyping it. You got the political parties more or less hyping it. You know, and I think you'll agree with that. And I think
the Democratic Party, yes. Every time there's an attack from somebody that's somehow considered to be right wing, whether they are or aren't, the Republican Party immediately comes out and disavows. The Democratic Party doesn't do that anymore. That's the difference with the violence over the past 2 years. They don't disavow it. Are any of them disavowing the violence from Antifa on Saturday and their role in all this?
No, they're blaming the other side. They're blaming the other side.
Exactly. Now, Republican politicians are coming out and saying we condemn violence from all sides. I don't see the Democratic Party doing that.
Well, I haven't
associated with the party doing that.
Well, I want to tell you right now, I don't know if they have or have not, because like I told you, I shut it off. I shut it off and said I am tired of listening to this BS. I am not going to listen to it no more. But I will tell you this. You know, if I'm going to contact every one of my senators and congressmen, and if they don't openly, I'm going to. When I say all of them, I'm talking about all of them from the state of South Carolina. Okay, and there's a bunch of Democrats. Okay, I'm going to contact every one of them, and if I don't get something back from them that they condemn it, well, by gosh, I'm going to condemn them, because that means they're part of it too. Is that fair enough?
Condemn it from all sides.
Is that fair enough?
They have to condemn it from all sides.
Of course they do.
Hear what they say about
of course they do.
You know, that black lynch mob.
Yeah. Is that fair enough? If I contact every senator and every congressman from my state and say, will you openly condemn the violence that has been going on over the last 12 months in this country?
Yeah, and you can include the softball game, you can include the rally in Chicago, you can include the planned attacks at the inauguration, and all the despicable stuff that a lot of people.
Well, I tell you what, Brian, listen up. You got a pencil?
Yeah.
All right. Here's my here's my email address. In the Pickle Barrel. Imagine that.
Mm-hmm.
At SC. That's SC, South Carolina. In the Pickle Barrel at sc.rr.com. And folks, that is open for anyone to use. If you've got a battle out there that you think we need to get on this list of violence that needs to be condemned, I don't care what side it is, I want you to send that to me and with your comments. And I want to promise you, I will get in touch with every one of my state senators and legislators and let them know that enough is enough. And I want to challenge each of y'all to do the same thing. Thank you very much. Someone just tried to come in. Good morning.
Hey, Bill, it's Candy.
Hey, Candy.
Hey, Brian, are you still on the phone?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Bill, for the record, Brian is 100% right. I was at...
I know he's right.
Now, wait a minute. Let me finish my thought here, because Brian is 100% right, and he needs to know just how right he is. I was at the rally, Brian, yesterday here in D.C., and I went to the candlelight vigil. Not only does the leadership on Capitol Hill not acknowledge the violence perpetrated by Antifa and the left-wing groups, the people who support those bozos on Capitol Hill will not acknowledge it. This shows two women in two different areas a list of tweets and asked them to tell me, Brian, who put the hateful rhetoric out, who was condemning what, and 8 out of 10 times they called the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
They said it was the GOP that was promoting the hateful rhetoric, and the tweets that showed stopping and condemning all violence across the board, they said that was Democrats.
Let me ask both of y'all a question.
When I showed them whose Twitter account it was, Brian, they still refused to accept the fact right there in front of their face, right there on a screen, that I have no control over those.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I have Twitter, and I have the automatic. It tells me when I got a message, and it flashes it up there. And so, I've seen all this stuff. That don't mean I sit down and just absorbed it and reread it. I saw it, and it's disgusting. And I tell you what. And I think one thing that could happen. I think people in
real life,
yeah,
their face to face,
and they still wouldn't accept it.
Evidence of their side, not acknowledging the violence on all sides, not condemning the violence, except on one side, and then the GOP condemning violence from all sides. I showed it them standing there with them face to face, and they refuse to acknowledge the people they support. Only blame the GOP and the far right wing for violence, and they will not acknowledge that the far left of Antifa, BLM, whatever it might be. They stood there in my face and refused to accept the black and white evidence on my computer screen of their leaders not calling out violence.
Well, I'll tell you what. I put out a couple of posts about it, and I had several. When I say several, I mean a dozen or more. Either send me private messages or text messages or responded on Facebook that said that they agree 100%. It is on both sides. And several of those people, majority of them, I'll tell you right now, were black. Okay? Some of them active in the Democrat Party right here in our county. And that just tickled the death out of me. My wife, who is a liberal, folks, everybody knows that. If you don't, just be around her a while. But she does not like to talk politics, though, by the way. And but she's a liberal. And when we were sitting in there, or we were in our car coming back from Charleston, she said, you know, I think your side and my side just make me sick right now. And I said, I do too. And every time it come up, she says, won't both of them just shut up? Won't both of them just shut up? Maybe nobody would even pay attention to what's going on. They wouldn't have these rights to start with. And I said, amen, sister. Keep preaching. You know, I'm going to convert you yet. She said, oh, no, you're not. But, you know, it's the truth. It's the truth. You know, it is both sides. And you can look across the country. And I would challenge anybody that listen to this show right now, if you're picking it up later on, I'm going to challenge you right now too. Get in touch with your state legislators and your national legislators and find out what they think and what comments have they made to curb this violence. I tell you what, those that do not say that both sides are wrong and both sides should be condemned, they will not get any support from me. I don't care what party they are next year, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't stand up against this violence, I will be actively campaigning against each and every one of you. Enough is enough. You are supposed to be the leadership. You are supposed to set the example. And by God, do your job or get the heck out of the Capitol building and out of Washington, D.C. Exclamation mark.
Well, Bill, I mean, even if you speak to these people privately and they condemn it, now, how many from the left or how many from the Democratic Party would make a statement publicly?
Well, you know, they need to make it publicly, Brian, and that's what I expect. That's what I expect.
Well, that's expecting a lot.
It is expecting a hell of a lot, and guess what? There'll be a lot of them on my S list, too.
Things have changed a lot in a couple of years.
It certainly has. It certainly has.
Even 5 or 10 years ago. And I think the larger issue
Mm-hmm.
at work here
Mm-hmm.
is one of the things that's trying to do what they've done in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
which is that they want to make it, you know, just completely unacceptable to have,
Mm-hmm.
you know, any kind of political philosophy that comes out against globalization and in favor of nationalism.
Mm-hmm.
They want to make that kind of, you know, that populist nationalist kind of philosophy unpalatable and paint it with the brush
Mm-hmm.
of racism to make
Mm-hmm.
it such that people that it will be impossible for any kind of real mass political movement to come about that can win elections with that kind of philosophy, because it'll be painted with the broad brush of racism and violence.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the thing is, if people don't fight all this stuff now, you're going to lose, and you're going to lose big. And it's great to say that, you know, I accept people of all colors, blah, blah, blah. First off, I think it's insulting that you know, we should even have to explain that, because that's just an obvious thing. It should be the left wing right now, the Democratic Party, should be the ones having to explain themselves and should be condemning violence. And they should be doing lots of stories on Antifa, because there are a lot more Antifa marches than there are neo-Nazi white supremacist marches. And they're not condemning it, either because they're afraid or because they're useful idiots, whatever the reasoning is. But this has got to stop. Look, the violence on political college campuses, the lack of free speech. Where's that coming from? I mean, is all the stuff happening on these college campuses coming from the right wing? It's not. It's coming from the left wing. And a big part of what they're doing is they're trying to make it unacceptable to have any kind of political philosophy that challenges that of the establishment and that of what they believe in. And people, if you're a conservative or Republican or an independent or just somebody that doesn't agree with that, if you don't fight this stuff now, you're going to lose, and you're going to lose big. And just you can see what's on the horizon, which is going to be, censorship. And it ain't going to be pretty, because the left wing they turned into a bunch of fascists.
Well, I want to tell you, we got all these names going out there.
They're even using political violence to achieve their objectives. They want a revolution. They're completely willing to burn the house down. I don't think it's quite something at how dangerous these people are.
Well, I want to tell everybody right now, I am white. Look, see? Any question? On Facebook. See, right here. I am white. And I am also a nationalist. You know it? You know, I'm a person that advocates that political independence is for this country. I believe that each and every one of us should be independent. I believe this country is built around that. And it does not say in the Constitution whether or not you're liberal, you're conservative, you're Christian, you're Catholic. You know, we are who we are. And if someone wants to call me a white nationalist, well, by gosh, I am. But I'm not one of those stupid idiots out there that keep carrying on all this violence and hate. And you know what? From what I hear from all you that are listening, most of you are white, and most of you sound like nationalists. So, you know, accept the name or not, that's up to you. But, I don't think being white is bad. I don't think being a nationalist is bad. You know, I don't think black is bad. It's the goddamn actions that you take that taint the whole meaning of what and who we are. I just get mad talking about this. I apologize because I am ranting and raving right now. But you know what? I think one of the biggest issues here. Now we can blame our politicians, and they do deserve a lot of the blame, folks. Media is not helping either. Media is not helping.
Huge contributors.
Oh, they are. I wish I could say it. Yeah, I wish I could say it like Trump. They are a very huge contributor to it. I mean, you know, I did record some shows last night, and I got up very early this morning to get caught up on what was going on. And I'll be honest with you, there's a couple of times I almost broke in tears to see people that were in the same career I was, that was supposed to be out there looking at the issues, describing what's going on, and reporting facts. Not speculations, not BS, not garbage, facts. And every one of them out there were speculating and throwing out trash and casting blame. God, help us all. God, help us all. You know,
it's frustrating, Bill.
It is. And you know, when they throw out this, it is. When they throw out this term white supremacist, you know, there's a big difference between a white supremacist and a white nationalist. There's a lot of difference between being a black individual and some of those idiots and some of those other organizations within the black community that taint who and what my friends are. There's a big difference. And the goddamn media today is concentrating on the bad side, feeding the anger and the hate over and over and over and over every single day. If you want to make some commentary, folks, how about making some commentary on how we can resolve these issues instead of throwing gasoline on the fire? Oh, wait a minute. That might not sell as many newspapers. That may not get as many Facebook hits or Twitter hits. You know, you got to have drama. You got to have something to grab their attention.
Well, I want to know where all the money comes from too for these astroturf movements that come from the left. Where's all the money coming from?
Okay.
And Black Lives Matter, and they like to think that they're grassroots movement. I bet they have a lot of. I've read they have a lot of money coming from George Soros and a lot of.
I don't know for sure, Brian, but obviously.
If you were a George Soros, again, I'll say this again.
Mm-hmm.
If you were a George Soros and one of these oligarchs,
mm-hmm.
and you got somebody that comes into power as president that
mm-hmm.
kind of threatens stuff
mm-hmm.
like the apple cart, all the cheap labor and all the
mm-hmm.
wars and all the stuff you believe in.
Well,
a better way to discredit the presidency and take the attention off you than to promote a civil war.
Yeah. Well, let me finish, Brian. All right, let me finish what I was going to. Let me finish what I was going to say. I don't know for sure because I haven't seen any signatures or anybody handing cash. Okay, but you know as well as I do from what you just got through saying, there's a lot of people in some high places that are supporting these efforts. There's no way they could do it the way they do it if they didn't. And that in itself is a problem. And until people realize that and they try to find the source and they try to nip the bud on them, it's again, there's just this is just like a 16-armed octopus. There's so many people out there involved in it. And coming from all sides and around the corners and curves around the hedges, just like the arms of an octopus or a squid, that, it's hard to track it all down. But good and well there's a bigger head attached to all of that somewhere. Agree?
Oh, yeah. And I think it's important that starts getting a lot of attention. But this past weekend is great for these rapacious oligarchs.
Oh, yeah.
It takes all the attention and focus away from them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what would you do if you were one of these George Soros, one of these masters of the universe, villains that are like the villains in the James Bond movies?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I'd want to be that. I don't know if I'd want to be that rich and famous because I'm afraid I might be skewed in my actions. So I just like to be just a normal human being I am, so I can just carry on a normal life. And oh God.
Well, I'm just saying, these types of things that happened over the weekend benefit the people that are currently
of course it does
that are in power.
Of course it does.
It stands to reason. It's not impossible, to believe that these are the people that are funding and encouraging these kinds of movements.
Okay, now Brian, here's a question for you. Yeah. At this point, we all have beliefs that this comes from above, not the great man above, but somewhere in between, right? We all agree that.
I do.
Okay, I think most people have a inkling to that. Okay, somebody's got to be funding them. So, how do we go about proving that and stopping it?
Well, how about a little bit of old-fashioned journalistic research?
Oh my goodness! Be still my heart. You mean honesty?
You're not going to get this from the establishment media.
No.
They're owned by 6 corporations.
No.
It's like, it's the same reason why. Look, the New York Times is owned by a Mexican oligarch that likes open borders.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to find an article in the New York Times critical of the open borders immigration policies. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to get that from other elements of the media, from the alternative media. And, and you're just going to, but the best thing to do to win is to shine a little bit of light on their activities. They can't stand, their activities don't do well with exposure to sunlight. They do best in secret. But if you expose what they're doing and turn a lot of attention on them, that would change everything.
Yeah.
But, if we get more events like what happened this past weekend, with the whole, civil war that they seem to want, that means there's going to be less attention focused on these oligarchs. I think the real battle now we have in this country and really elsewhere is, if countries are going to win or if the oligarchs are going to win. They have, the wealth of these oligarchs is such now that some of them are becoming trillionaires. And a lot of them really are like James Bond villains. Go watch Moonraker. By the way, I think I mentioned this last week, Hillary Clinton dresses like Hugo Drake's in Moonraker. But go watch some of the James Bond movies. Like, go watch Quantum of Solace. Moonraker. Or some of the, I'm telling you, that's the mentality of these people. You know, I mean, they're egomaniacal, and I think we're all getting played with all this racial stuff, and it's really a shame because the advantage we have over the oligarchs is that there are a lot more of us than there are of them. But if we're going to be fighting each other because of the race issue or political party or whatever, nothing's ever going to get done.
Yeah, I just got an article that was sent to me. That's the reason I had my hand over the mic, folks. Those of you on Facebook Live wondering what I was doing, I was putting my hand over the mic to cover the sound of the printer as much as possible. I just got this sent over to me. Let's see. Fellow Republicans pressure Trump to forcefully and clearly condemn white nationalism. Okay, I have no problem with him doing
done
that.
1,000 times. I mean,
Yeah.
The thing is, it'll never be enough. It'll never be enough. You know, ultimately, what they want is they want to come for the head of anybody in his administration that's an economic nationalist.
Yeah. Guess where this article come from?
Where?
Washington Times.
Mm-hmm.
Shock.
So, but what about the calls for Schumer and the Democratic leadership to condemn the violence from the left? None. You have to understand what the game's being played here is they want to purge anybody from Trump's team that's an anti-globalist. And then ultimately they want to come after Trump, and they are, because of Trump's positions on trade, immigration, and foreign policy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this is the game that's being played. It'll never end. I mean, this is why Flynn had to be removed so McMaster could come in. You know, and why was Bannon removed from the National Security Council? Well, because when they had to vote on whether or not they were going to do the airstrikes in Syria, because these globalists love lots of war, the one guy saying, you know, no, let's not do the airstrikes was Bannon.
Mm-hmm.
So the great irony is that, you know, all these people from the left, or rather from the establishment that claim to be opposed to violence, they're the biggest perpetrators of it. I mean, how many people have they gotten killed in the Middle East? How many countries have they destabilized? And look how they're destabilizing our country, and how they're more than willing to promote violence and condone, you know, lots of people getting killed if it advances their agenda. There's a big game being played here, Bill, and we're being conned big time.
Well, and, you know, Brian, the truth of the matter is we're letting it happen. You know, we're letting it happen. You know, the American people could put a stop to this if they just would. They could stop participating in these type of events. The communities themselves, and some people say, well, we have the right to be there. We have the right to say our side. You know, with that many people in the streets, with that many people protesting, why didn't the city have those streets blocked to prevent any kind of automobiles going down those streets to start with? I mean, that in itself could possibly have helped. And, you know, when I was in Cleveland at the national convention when Trump was nominated, to be president of the United States by the RNC, they had snow shovels, they had trucks out blocking the streets around the area where the protesters were. You couldn't get a car or anything in through there. They had security everywhere. And believe me, there wasn't as many protesters there, which I was shocked at the small number that there really was. They didn't have as many protesters there as was in the streets of Charlottesville. Why didn't they get their snow plows and block the roads? Why didn't they get their dump trucks to block the roads?
They wanted this to happen.
Oh God, I hope not.
Maybe might say that maybe somebody that was involved in the whole protection thing, or somebody that gave them orders, kind of, was hoping for what happened to happen.
Well, that would be absolutely terrible, Brian. That would be absolutely terrible. God, I hope that's not true.
I hope not, but based on some of the things that I read, and not just random tweets from Jane Doe or John Doe, but from people in leadership positions or public figures, I'm telling you, the fascism has taken over the left wing, and by any means necessary, they're trying to bring down the Trump regime and impose fascism and try to impose their will on everybody else. I hate thinking that way, but I don't know what else to think when all these acts of violence from the left that nobody from the left wing condemns them.
Yeah.
And they get mad at even the suggestion of having to condemn them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know what other conclusion you can come to. It's just, again, proof. Well, you have a preponderance of evidence that just keeps building up, building up, and building up. So at some point, what is it, Occam's razor? The most likely explanation, simplest explanation is the explanation. And if the left wing does not condemn violence, then the simplest explanation to me is that they are promoted, that they support the violence that's happening.
Well, here's the way I look at it. I think that we have the right to protest. We have the right to stand up and say what we believe. And I do not want to see those rights persecuted and prevented. That is one way that everyone can get involved if they want to. And I do not want to see cities or communities, limiting the ability of people to do that. What I do want them to see is if a event like this takes place in the name of public safety, if nothing else, forget the political meanings of it. Just look at the public safety. Their job is to protect the people. And by gosh, they need to do whatever's necessary to protect the people while still not interfering in their right to participate. And folks, if you can't do that, then you don't have much of a security force in your city. You don't have much of a police force. You don't have much desire to make sure nothing happens. Personal opinion. Oh, Lord, I need a drink. Somebody say something. I got a drink while y'all say something.
Bill, I hope this is not a conversation we'll be having to have in the future, because the violence is bad in so many ways. And as somebody that I would think it's an obvious thing that we should be valuing human life. That's the most important thing. But I guess there are a lot of people, not a lot of people, but there are, unfortunately, more people than there should be that don't value human life. And I'm really mad about the games that are being played here, because you have a lot of, you're going to be having innocent people that are going to be, having their lives put in jeopardy. And even a lot of people that were protesting, my anger is not ultimately at them, because I feel like they've been duped. It's the people that behind the scenes that are manipulating all this. And it makes me very angry to think that you have people with that much money and power, instead of using it to be a force for good in the world, they use it to play these kinds of games, which potentially can get a lot of people killed.
Well, let me ask you something, Brian.
Maybe in the future we'll be having mass protests outside of George Soros' homes, or the Koch brothers, or Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates. Maybe that's where the protest can be organized.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. All right, you got three people. Now, I'm going to use three because these are the three most predominant that you hear of in the country right now, okay? You got white, you got Hispanic, and you got black.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
Now then, whites have issues, don't we?
Of course.
Black have issues, don't they? Hispanics have issues, don't they?
Yep.
Where in the Constitution does it say only whites or only blacks or only Hispanic have the right to speak their mind and be heard?
I don't think it says that.
Where in the Constitution does it say that only whites can protest, only Hispanic can protest, or only black can protest?
And there you go.
Where in the Constitution does it say that only whites should have all the rights, only Hispanic could have all the rights, or only the blacks could have the rights? Doesn't say that either.
I don't know.
You know?
I don't think it does.
I think somewhere it says all men are created equal. And, you know, I firmly believe that any time, and this is something else I'm opposed to, anytime you try to limit either one of these groups or the many others, I'm just using these three so I don't have to count my toes and fingers too, okay? They're the most predominant. You know, anytime you try to block the rights of either one of those, you're wrong. You're wrong. Their rights is no different than mine. Their ability to protest and all that is just the same as mine. But, you do have the right to try to contain violence and harm, no matter which group it is. And if the communities, if the National Guard, if the State Guard, if the federal government fails to protect each and every one of those equally, they're wrong. Now, they may be taking their orders from their state governor or the president or the general of generals or whatever, but guess what? That doesn't make it right. And, you know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't think the color of your skin, your religion, I don't think you're whether you're Republican or Democrat or Libertarian or whatever, I don't think any of that should curtail the legitimacy of your voice being heard or your ability to protest, to gather and protest. It's when you cross those boundaries and you start professing violence and it actually takes place in the streets, that is where you have just poo-pooed in your Wheaties, as far as I'm concerned. I do get worked up sometimes, Brian.
So what were you going to say about China and trade?
Oh, China and trade. Oh, gosh. Oh, man. What was I going to say about China and trade? You know, I just lost track on that one. China and trade. Oh, Brian, I tell you what. I can't even remember now. I don't even know if I might have just picked up those notes.
You said something about the currency manipulation or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I just hit a blank, Brian. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'll get that together for tomorrow. How's that? Oh, mercy.
But look, these are interesting times we live in. And you know what? A lot of the people that had these, they called them conspiracy theories 15, 20 years ago. You know what? They were right.
You know, I hate to say it, but
right.
You know, I hate to say it, and I hope Dave's not listening. I hate to say it, but you know, there are several of them that are starting to peep around the corner a little bit, aren't there? Yeah.
Yeah, because and it's just a recognition that, you know, what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
They want the rest of the world to conform to their thinking and make divergent political views or philosophical views, you know, unacceptable and so distasteful that, you know, nobody will want to challenge the status quo.
Yeah.
You know? And it's always hard to challenge the status quo anyway because, you know, you don't want to be looked at as an outcast. You don't want people giving you a hard time. But what if that becomes that way with, like, politically on every single issue? And look what they've tried to do with climate change.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the man-made climate change believers, what do they call people that don't agree with that philosophy?
Mm-hmm.
Climate change deniers, like
Mm-hmm.
likening it to the Holocaust deniers.
Mm-hmm.
So who wants to be called a climate change scenario. Now, some people might not care, but a lot of other people, they go about their everyday life and, they hear climate change denier. Well, they think that, if you disagree with man-made climate change, that, you're evil and you don't want to be thought of as evil or likened to somebody that denies the Holocaust. So you're going to believe in man-made climate change. I mean, that's just one example. And you can see what's happening here. And it really, really bothers me because what they want to do is they want to criminalize or make political dissent completely unacceptable.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, we got some chat in the chat room, and all I've got to say to Vito and Neil, have y'all been peeking at my notes for tomorrow? Because y'all have some things here that's on my list already for tomorrow. I hope y'all will come back tomorrow and take part in the conversations. Okay. Brian, Guy, listen, again, thank you for joining us this morning in the Pickle Barrel, and all of you for joining us here in the Pickle Barrel. Can you believe that 2 hours has just flown by? I mean, it seems like I've just been sitting down here, but my throat tells me otherwise. And I want to thank all of you for being here this morning. And those in Facebook land, I hope that you will share this show when it comes up, when it's posted after it's done the necessary editing, all the junk out of it. If you would, share this around and tell everybody you know to jump in here with you tomorrow, as well as all the other programming here on American Patriot Radio. And so we got full day ahead, so we're going to be getting out of here real quickly. I got 3 meetings. One starts at 10:30, so I'm going to have to bamboozle. But we'll be back here in the Pickle Barrel tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. We'll continue our discussions on these issues. Again, thanks everyone participating, and be safe out there. We want you back here tomorrow. Dave, what's happening next on APR?
Stick around, no reason to change that dial. Kids Corner, happy hour at APR, and Chuck Gold's Golden Age of Radio is on the menu throughout the day. So stay tuned right here to AmericanPatriotRadio.com.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a great one. And remember, we can make a difference. Keep the faith. We'll see you back here tomorrow in the Pickle Barrel. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. You've been in the Pickle Barrel with author, speaker, commentator, and show host, Bill Pickle. You are listening to American Patriot Radio.